Right now at 5, the father of the Abundant Life school shooter is taken into custody. We'll detail the charges against him.
And it's a historic selection at the Vatican as an American from right here in the Midwest becomes Pope Leo the 14th.
Plus, we will fill you in on another lawsuit challenging Wisconsin's congressional district. You're watching News 3 Now at 5 live from our Madison studio. And we are starting off with a breaking news update on the Abundant Life Christian School shooting investigation.
Jeffrey Ruppnow, the shooter's father, is in custody. We're providing you with full team coverage tonight as police release more details on the arrest. This afternoon, Madison police provided an update on their investigation at a press conference. Our Ellie LaLiberte was there, and she joins us now with the latest details. Ellie?
Yeah, Eric, Susan, we learned just a couple of hours ago that Jeffrey Ruppnow was arrested about at 4 a.m. this morning. That's nearly 5 months since this deadly shooting. His daughter, 15-year-old Natalie Ruppnow, who went by Samantha, opened fire at Abundant Life Christian School back in December, killing a teacher, a student, and injuring 6 others. She also died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Now, her father is facing 2 felony counts of intentionally giving a dangerous weapon to a minor, resulting in death, and 1 count of contributing to child delinquency. We received a criminal complaint that shows that the 2 firearms recovered from the school were legally bought by Ruppnow. Now, during the investigation, the police found many warning signs of the shooter's plans, including a manifesto, but say there's still much they don't know.
Many continue to ask about the motive of this case. Why would a 15-year-old open fire in her school, murder a teacher, classmates, and injure 6 others? We may never fully understand that motive.
Now, part of this investigation also includes troubling social media use. Just last week, a Florida man was arrested for planning a mass shooting at a law enforcement agency. He was found to have an online connection to Ruppnow, the ALCS shooter. And the court records show that her father will appear in court tomorrow for an initial appearance. And there's still 1 student in critical condition. I'll send it back to you guys, but for now, reporting live downtown Madison, Ellie LaLiberte, News 3 Now.
Ellie, thank you. And we are also learning more about what led to the shooting and today's felony charges from the criminal complaint.
Our Maddie Heimsch is here in the studio with us to break down interviews that police conducted with Ruppnow and the evidence collected from their home. Maddie?
Yeah, we know that there were multiple guns in the home, and Ruppnow told police they were all kept in a safe. But when they searched the home the day of the shooting, there were guns missing from that safe. Now, the complaint does give us a more detailed timeline of the days and hours leading up to the Monday morning shooting. According to the police investigation, the shooter asked her dad on Friday if they could go to the shooting range the next day. He said yes, but they did not end up going. On Sunday, on the 15th, she asked Jeffrey if he could get her gun out of the safe to clean it. He removed it from the safe for her. She took the gun to her bedroom to clean, and later Ruppnow told police he couldn't remember whether or not that gun was put back in the safe before he closed it up Sunday evening. Ruppnow told police that the safe in their home was locked with a passcode that only he knew. He did, however, note that it's likely his daughter had at some point watched him enter that code. Now, coming up on News 3 Now at 6, I'll have more on contact Madison police had with Ruppnow years prior to the shooting about his daughter's, quote, high-risk behavior online.
We will see you at 6, Maddie. Thank you. Next at 5, it is an extraordinary day for the Catholic Church with the election of a new pope.
That's right. Tina Kraus reports from the Vatican on the first American pontiff in history, Pope Leo the 14th.
Crowds welcomed the first American pope in history with ecstatic cheers.
I pray that he can bring everyone together and bring peace.
Choosing the name Leo XIV, Robert Prevost's selection came as a surprise, but not to everyone.
He's not a showboat. He is very calm, but extremely intelligent and extremely compassionate.
Father Mark Francis is a colleague from Chicago, where Prevost was born in 1955. He graduated from the Catholic Theological Union with a Master of Divinity degree, but he spent his career in Peru, working for nearly 20 years as a missionary to some of the country's poorest people.
That same touch that Francis had of caring for the poor, caring for those on the margins, will characterize this papacy.
Crowds here in St. Peter's Square erupted in cheers for the new pope. Many see the 69-year-old as a centrist, but with his low public profile, it's not known where he stands on social issues, other than opposing ordaining women as deacons. The announcement of his election brought applause at the Archdiocese of Chicago.
Our prayers are with our new Holy Father, Leo XIV.
And the news brought a New York cheer outside St. Patrick's Cathedral.
He's from America. He's the first American pontiff in history. Yes.
By choosing the name Leo, he follows in the path of Leo XIII, who laid the foundation for modern Catholic thought. To many, it's a signal of commitment to social issues and care for the needy. Tina Kraus, CBS News, the Vatican.
And local Catholic leadership is reacting to the selection of Pope Leo.
Armand Rahman talked with the leader of the Madison diocese today, who says don't put too much stock in politics with this pope. Armand?
That's right, Eric and Susan. I did talk to Bishop Donald Hying earlier, and he said that he does not believe that we should look at the selection of his American Pope with a political lens, but he did expect that it would energize the American Catholic community, and I think that's pretty true. Earlier today, I stopped by St. Patrick's Church in downtown Madison and spoke with Catholics there who were conveniently learning about the news right after they were worshiping. Take a look.
I checked my group chat during Mass, my family group chat, and my sister put it in there as like the first American Pope that got elected. So I was like, wow, that's actually kind of crazy. So it was definitely kind of a surreal moment, and I think big for us Americans and the future of the Catholic Church.
And according to Bishop Hying, Pope Leo XIV is fluent in 5 languages and has advanced degrees in canon law. And later on tonight at 6, I'll have more on what those local Catholics, as well as Bishop Hying, wants to see the new Pope tackle in this papacy. For now, reporting live in Madison, Armand Rahman, News 3 Now.
We'll see you at 6, Armand. Thank you. Well, there's some frost possible tonight across southern Wisconsin.
Alex on our weather patio right here in Madison with just how chilly it might get tonight, Alex.
Eric, Susan, we're going to get down into the low to mid 30s tonight. That's that critical junction point where we get that widespread patchy frost, and it's that reason that frost advisories are issued by the National Weather Service from 1 a.m. till 8 a.m. for just about every county in the WISC viewing area. Crawford, Grant, and Lafayette counties, you still will likely see some patchy frost tonight, especially in those open areas and those low-lying areas. Here we go, 33. A trio of 33s, Camp Douglas over towards the Dells, up towards Marquette. Green Lake counties, we got 34 here in Madison, and that 37, that's a cautious 37 to the south towards the Wisconsin-Illinois border. You're going to want to cover those tender plants. I just pulled in our annuals that we're about ready to plant and put them inside our heated garage so that they have cover for tonight. Now, it's nice out. We have a bit of a breeze. Temperatures in the 60s, and here in Dane County, 62 to Deerfield to 67 to the west, but that breeze is going to ease on up, and with the clear skies above, that's that recipe for that frost tonight. But a beautiful night to go out there yet and get those plants covered or bring them in. Though coming up in Maine weather, we're going to transition also to other parts of our weather story, and that's the warmth. Abnormal warm temperatures on the way, and how much water you can expect during this warm spell that's on the way. That's just in a moment or two.
All right, Alex, thank you. And new this afternoon, a lawsuit filed in state court is challenging Wisconsin's congressional districts.
Political reporter Will Keneally is here with more. Will?
So this harkens back to the idea of gerrymandering, where how you draw the lines affect who is in power. So this diagram shows where we were last November of how Wisconsin voted for these congressional district candidates. Now you can see Republicans won, but they won by a smaller margin, a little more than 51%. But the state isn't split evenly by congressional districts. So the seats of the 8 Wisconsin seats, 6 of them are held by Republicans, only 2, Madison and Milwaukee, are held by Democrats. Now some argue that this disparity is unfair.
Wisconsin is ground zero for election. Wisconsin and North Carolina for election challenges. But that's partly because the Wisconsin and North Carolina Republicans went the farthest of almost any other state in gerrymandering their districts.
Now, some other challenges in federal court have failed in the past, but keep in mind this lawsuit is in state court. And as a reminder, we have a liberal Wisconsin State Supreme Court, so it could have a better chance of being successful. Now, if they redraw these lines, we could see at least one or two more Democrats represent Wisconsin in Congress.
Will, thank you. With the Real ID deadline here, organizations are hoping that more people take the time to sign up to save a life. The rush to get a Real ID has left thousands practicing patients, and organ procurement organizations around the country are asking those who are waiting to consider the more than 100,000 people on the national transplant list waiting for an organ.
17 people on that 100,000 wait list will run out of time today. They woke up this morning and their families will say goodbye today.
More than 90% of organ donor registrations come through the DMV.
It is a big week for one Sun Prairie woman as she celebrates Mother's Day and being 1 year free of a rare cancer. Last February, Lydia Dutcher had a complicated childbirth resulting in her needing to be treated for an infection. Now that led to doctors testing her placenta and diagnosing her with a cancer called choriocarcinoma. The disease affects about 1 in every 100,000 pregnancies in the United States every year.
I was also told a lot by my oncology team that this is a really highly curable cancer, even though it did spread to my lungs and it was a stage 3 cancer. Nobody wants to hear that you have stage 3 cancer, but yeah, it's treatable and you can get through it.
Lydia underwent 10 weeks of chemotherapy and was declared cancer-free in April of last year. Doctors also used a pregnancy test to determine that Lydia's son did not have cancer.
Oh, so precious. Here's a live look at the Madison night market. Folks are starting to head down there. Tonight's night market started at the top of the hour. It started right at 5 o'clock and it will last until 9 tonight. Vendors are mixed in with existing State Street retailers showcasing their homemade goods. This is the first night market of the year, and the event is also celebrating UW-Madison's commencement.
And still to come at 5, a database tracking natural disaster damage costs is no longer.
And the U.S. and the United Kingdom announce a trade deal. What this agreement means for American agriculture. That's next.
On Wall Street today, the Dow jumping more than 254 points. The Nasdaq with a strong 190-point gain. S&P 500 adds almost 33. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
The U.S. and the U.K. announce a new trade deal.
It's the first new deal for the Trump administration since the president instituted sweeping new global tariffs. The president's 10% baseline tariff remains in place, but the deal scales back the levies imposed on British cars, steel, and aluminum. In exchange for the partial tariff relief, the British are opening up their markets to more American goods.
It's going to exponentially increase our beef exports. And to be very clear, American beef is the safest, the best quality, and the crown jewel of American agriculture for the world.
President Trump said this trade agreement is the first of many deals he expects to secure with trade partners looking to negotiate in light of his sweeping tariffs.
Japanese auto giant Toyota says U.S. tariffs will cost its business $1.3 billion over just April and May alone. Toyota says the outlook is a sharp turnaround from a year ago when the automaker reported the highest annual profit ever recorded by a Japanese firm. A 25% tariff on Toyota vehicles imported into the U.S. took effect last month. It was extended to auto parts last week.
An extreme weather database that has tracked the cost of natural disasters since back in the 1980s. In 1980, it is now being discontinued. The NOAA is retiring its billion-dollar weather and climate disasters database. It'll be archived but no longer updated beyond 2024. NOAA recently announced it's also ending other services due in large part to staffing reductions. Some frost in the forecast, but a warm-up is also on the way.
Here's Alex with the full forecast.
Yep, just have to get through tonight, get those plants inside the house, cover them with sheets or a blanket, and then we can get through that, and then we got nice weather on the way. But the not such nice stuff, frost advisories 1 a.m. till 8 a.m. Friday morning. We've been warning about this for a couple of days now, and again, I'm going to just keep calling out Southwest Wisconsin. you're not out of the woods. So I'd also exercise that caution as well. Temperatures will be a little warmer by the Mississippi. You may not get down to 34 with frost being likely in southwest Wisconsin like the rest of southern Wisconsin, but you should still exercise that caution. We're seeing those lows: 33 Baraboo, 33 Camp Douglas, 33 Marquette, Green Lake counties, 34 in Madison. Those upper 30s can still be sneaky, especially in those low-lying areas, those open areas where sometimes locally the temperatures can get just a little bit cooler. So better to err on the side of caution than have some of those annuals or some of your susceptible other plants be susceptible to that frost overnight tonight. Little history about frost here. Average last night at 32 degrees or below. That's about April 30th. We've passed that. Last night, or I should say the latest last night at 32 or below, that was May 10th in 1972. And in 2024, that last night that we had at 32 or below was April 25th. We're not going to go below 32, or we're going to be really, we'll be really close to it. I don't think we're going to go too much below that 33 mark, but it's going to be close. That frost, though, likely tonight. Then we warm right up into Friday. 80s may return by the weekend, especially as we get towards Sunday. So this is short-lived. Short-lived meaning already back up to near 70 tomorrow, mid-70s off to the west. It's those westerly winds are going to bring in that warmer air, dry air as we go into the weekend as well. So Mom's Day will do 79, sunny and mild. Winds will be fairly on the light side. So that really just is going to be a gorgeous day for Mother's Day. Even Saturday at 75 is going to be pretty nice. And then look at this extended period in the upper 70s to the lower 80s. Normal, about 70. And we're way, way, way above that as we go out into next week. With that warm stretch, you're probably thinking, if you're a gardener or farmer, are we going to get some water with that? And we could use that because parts of southern Wisconsin here, Platteville, Darlington, Monroe, you're still experiencing moderate drought conditions. So farming communities in far southwest Wisconsin, you're going to want some of those raindrops, and I'll give you a little heads up here. So we go further into May, the Climate Prediction Center has at least a slightly above normal chance of precipitation, which would be in the form of water. Hopefully not in the form of snow, and the chance of that would be very low. But we need that water because of those drought conditions. Here's a glimpse of one of our weather projections showing widespread 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. But some areas may get significantly more than that because in our 10-day forecast, we've got some thunderstorm chances Tuesday, going on into Wednesday night, going on into Thursday. So locally, some areas could see more than that 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of water, and I don't think there'll be any complaints if you get a little bit more than 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch.
Good stuff. Thank you, Alex. And after the break, making connections while on the job. One special gift one mail carrier gave that made a lasting impact on a Wisconsin woman. We'll have the story when we come back.
You're watching News 3 Now at 5.
Well, there's often some excitement that comes with getting the mail. Maybe it's a package or a card.
But it wasn't the mail that excited one young girl in Chippewa Falls. It was the person who delivered it. Kim Ledholm has the story.
I even brought your mail.
For 10 years.
My customers really make it super easy to stay here.
Jenny Hawes has delivered mail to residents in Chippewa Falls.
I have a lot of regulars that come out and see me. I think when you see people out on the route, a lot, it's easy to form a relationship with them.
And 5 years ago, Hawes, also known as Jenny the Mail Lady, made one of those relationships.
She made me more comfortable.
Meeting Jersey Work, who was 8 at the time.
I had just gone through a really bad divorce, and I'm a really rough around the edges kind of guy, so it was kind of rough raising girls. I had no idea what I was doing, so I felt like a positive female role model couldn't really hurt.
If anything, it actually helped. So when Jersey's birthday came up, Jenny got an idea.
What little girl doesn't want a porcelain doll? So I happened to have this one at home.
And on her birthday, she gave her one.
I was very happy.
With a card.
It says sweet surprises, and then inside it says, Jersey girl, hope your birthday is filled with them.
It was pretty impressive. She moved up the list of amazing people for me.
Now, 5 years later, Jersey is still hanging on to the gift.
It had a lot of meaning to it.
Which prompted her dad to make a post on Facebook asking if anyone remembered Jenny the Mail Lady.
And then they were looking for me, and I was like, she moved to Holcomb and Ladysmith 5 years ago.
Many of the comments recognized Jenny, who ended up seeing that post.
For her to remember that was pretty awesome to hear.
And shortly after, they reconnected.
I just can't believe she's hung on to it all this time.
So through small chats at a mailbox, an even greater gift was delivered.
I very much enjoy our chats at the mailbox. Keep smiling and enjoy your birthday, girl. Love, Jenny, the mail lady.
Last week, Jersey and Haas scheduled to meet for the first time, getting ice cream and hanging out. And they said they hope to stay in touch for years to come.
And we'll have a final check of your first warn forecast when we come back.
A historic day in Rome, one most American Catholics thought they would never see. The first pope born in the United States has been elected. A stunning announcement and his message of peace and unity tonight on a special edition of the CBS Evening News.
And coming up tonight at 6, the father of the Madison Abundant Life Christian School shooter is taken into custody. We will have continuing coverage from today's press conference. Again, that story and more at the top of the hour.
Finally, tonight at 5, a new study finds that the world's most famous dinosaur, is this one Sue in Chicago?
It looks like it.
Yep.
From Chicago, yeah.
The Tyrannosaurus Rex may not be as American as we all thought. Paleontologists used mathematical modeling to conclude that the T-Rex ancestors probably crossed the Bering Strait between modern-day Siberia and Alaska around 70 million years ago.
Well, this finding tracks with past research that suggested these dinosaurs were more closely related to the top predators in Asia than those in North America. The study's authors say there could still be fossils of T-Rex ancestors undiscovered in Asia.
That's cool.
Learn more every day.
Yep.
All right, Alex, final check of the forecast, and that frost is incoming.
It's incoming. It'll be here by the time we get to that 1 a.m. to about 8 a.m. time frame. Perfect timing for frost, right? Clear skies, light winds. That's why we have that frost advisory really for the entire WISC viewing area. Up against temperatures in the low to mid 30s. You're going to want to cover those plants, blankets, sheets, or just pull them in for the night. And it's the only night you're going to need to pull those plants in, because look at our forecast. Our temperatures are going to be upper 70s to the lower 80s. Overnight lows, look at those too, upper 50s to the lower 60s. I mentioned this last night. That's the weather that you would see June or even in July. So flowers like this, thanks Jim, bring them in tonight.
All right, Alex, thanks. Again, we'll be back in a half hour for News 3 Now at 6. Stay tuned now for the CBS Evening News.